Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abby and in today's video I'm going to be repotting the banana plant behind me along with another plant that's been water propagating for like a year, maybe a bit longer. So I'm not sure how salvageable it is. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But this plant behind me it's growing really well. It's obviously healthy, but I think it could do much better in a better soil. It's in like really dense compost. So I went and bought some things from the shop. So I've got some perlite with me. I've got some orchid bark because there are some orchids of my mother-in-law's that wants repotting as well. And I've got what looks to be the closest to what I would normally use at home. It's just compost potting soil. I had houseplants on the front, so I thought that was a good start. So for this one, with the soil, because the soil was quite expensive, I'm going to reuse what's in this pot at the moment, but just add perlite in it. But I am going to take it all out, check the roots out, and then kind of like, I think I'm going to do that. I'll see how it goes on as we get into it, because it might not need it. I just really want to get some aeration in there. And then with the other one, which I'll show you. Okay, the story behind this is I basically found loads of these for sale in Home Depot last year. I bought loads and I took them home with me. And there was one left over and I put B-roll on the screen, and it honestly, I don't know how she does it, her plants go wild. It's grown so much, but the odd bits that I propagated, we put in water, they haven't been moved to soil ever since, so they're still in water, but the plant looks like it could quite easily be saved. Like, it's not like, I mean, there's bound to be some root rot in there, and I can kind of see that there is, but the plant in general isn't in a bad shape. It just needs some love, so I'm going to be repotting this as well. So I'm going to start with the biggest plant because it took a while for me to get it on the table because it's really heavy. But I did ask you over on Instagram only a couple of hours ago, so there's not that many that came through yet. Questions, ask me anything goes kind of thing. So I'll be answering some of them as we go through, but like I say, I literally posted that like an hour and a half ago and then decided today was the day I needed to redo this because it's going to be really stormy tomorrow and then we leave the next day. So I haven't got much to work with, but it still gives you a little bit of a flavour as to what people have been asking. So I'm literally just cutting the dead parts off. Nothing too crazy, just to make it look a little neater. And I tend not to like to cut like all of these off until it really looks like it could do with it, because sometimes there's like risk of like ripping a bit that you don't want to rip off and damaging the plant. And apologies if it's like super windy and noisy. I've got you behind like a column, a brick column, so hopefully the wind's broken up a bit there. But yeah, this plant, I don't know how old it is. It's like really beautiful, and I've always wanted a banana plant, like literally a banana plant and a bird of paradise. And I've always been really envious of this one. But we've got a stake here. It's staking nothing, so we can take that out. And I've got a bucket, so I thought I could dig some of the soil out. Like I said, I want to reuse the soil it's in, so dig some of it out and put it in the bucket, and then just do what I would do at home and just mix the perlite in the bucket and then pour it back in. So we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll just take out these like random stones and stuff. I'm not sure. I mean, I use stones to weigh down my plants, but this doesn't really need weighing down. But yeah, I'm very envious of this plant. Very envious. I just find they're so expensive in the UK. Like, I actually went plant shopping today, and I don't know if you've seen the video, if it's the next one, but I'm pretty sure these were pretty good, like in terms of pricing. Okay, so here's my bucket, and I've got this trusty spade from the sand pit. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and roughen up some of the soil. So it's, like I say, soil, I think it is actually compost, and it's so dense, like it's almost like dirt. I found it really interesting going plant shopping to actually buy something like I had in mind in a foreign country. Like they had so many like cactus pot and mix, like orchid bark, like loads of like leca and things like that, but I just couldn't find your bog standard potting mix. It all had the word compost on it, and I wouldn't normally see that in England. It would normally just be houseplant potting mix or something, but maybe that's just me. I mean, I'm not the best with soil. I tend to just use what I know and like. Okay, so while I dig this out and put this in here, I'll start with some of the questions. So one of them was, how long have you been doing YouTube for? And I had to think about this one. So I think it's just over 2 years now, which is quite a long time actually. And I actually started it because I used to do some like national campaigning. I used to run the city where I live. Well, I started a campaign group for the city I live to do with like the cladding scandal. I'm not sure if you've heard of Grenfell and stuff. Our flat was basically heavily affected by it, and it looked like we were going to have to pay like £90,000 plus to fix something on the outside of the building that should never have been used, and other problems. So I was doing loads and loads of like media like interviews and stuff, and I'm so shy and like really hated the camera. So my husband encouraged me to start doing videos of things that I loved, and I think we just went into lockdown. I think most people probably started their YouTube then, and yeah, I kind of did it to get my like nerves kind of like under control. And I remember the first few videos, people were like, I would really appreciate it if you looked at the camera, and I was like, oh, I'm so scared. But then I got more confident, and yeah, I really enjoy it now. I've only missed 1 week, I think, upload, and that was when I was in hospital, and that was like an emergency surgery. So I think I have a good excuse. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I've kept accountable to it, and I really love chatting to everyone on my comments. So yeah, it's been a nice journey. Okay, I'm getting to the roots now. And they're not what I thought they'd be. They're kind of like a bit, well, they're very dry, which is weird because this was only just been watered. I feel like this pot size is good for this though, so it's definitely staying in this. It doesn't have any drainage, but it seems to like it. I should have tied my hair up. I'm gonna get my mother-in-law to cut it for me today because it drives me insane. I think I look so scratty when it gets like lower than my backside. So another question I got was, what is your favourite plant? And I think you could ask me every single day of the week and it would be different. My current favourite plant, touch wood, my current favourite is the newish variegated Monstera cutting I got. I just find it so exciting when you get new growth. Haven't had any new growth on it yet, but it's got good genes, so I'm really excited about growing it. My other variegated Monstera is less exciting, but I have like a, it sounds a bit weird, I have it's a security camera at home, and we've turned it to the entrance of the door just for security reasons. And my Monstera is in the corner, and you can kind of see it's got a new leaf on it, and it's really exciting. But it's growing on there's 2 plants in that pot. It's growing on the plant that is less, almost non-existent, like in variegation. So my thinking is they both normally grow at the same time. So I'm hoping the bit that's off camera, which is the more variegated plant, is also growing a new leaf. But yeah, so another question that came in was, why are you in Lithuania? Do you have family there? I think a lot of people think that I am Lithuanian because I talk about it so much. I'm not. My dad's Scottish and my mom is English. My husband is Lithuanian, and I love it. Like, I just love it here. Like, my in-laws live in the middle of nowhere. There's like literally tractors all the way like around us, like farm animals. Like, it's just Like, I really love it. Well, more cows than farm animals. They had goats and stuff last year, but I don't see them this year. They probably moved to another field, but yeah, I really like it here. I just love everything about it. To me, it's like a very, very slow, simple life, you know, like just, well, that's what it seems to me. I can appreciate that if you live here, it would be very different. You know, when you go somewhere for a short amount of time, it always seems better than where you live. But yeah, I think I would love to move out here when we retire one day, because the economy is not quite as good as it is in England, unfortunately. I think we were talking about the cost of living out here. It's crazy compared to the wages. It's definitely far better in England. I just had to check the sound was working and everything, because it is kind of a little windy here, but it's not too bad. And I think it is. So I'm kind of getting like more than halfway down. There are some, like, I mean, the roots in here are good, but some of them are like just, and I haven't done it, but some of them are just, you know, broken, which is fine. Like, so I know people take them out, but I don't really have a problem with it. This is so stuck in here. Okay, so another question I got was from the same person: what's your least favorite houseplant? I don't know. It's a really tricky one. I actually dislike quite a lot, and I'm probably going to do a video on overrated houseplants. Again, I think I've already done it. I just like to keep things like updated. I'm not sure. I always said philodendron that grow like grow up, like, you know, like literally like the one I'm about to repot. There's something cute about that though, because it doesn't look like it. But I've had some like green emeralds and red emeralds on all those ones that just, they're really difficult to, I don't know. They just don't do it for me. I don't dislike them, to be honest. Calathea. I used to be really into Calathea. Don't really like them. It's not even the fact that I don't know what it is about them. They're just a bit uninteresting to me, which is really bad, because I used to be so into them, but people's tastes changed like all the time. So, and I'm always like, I've always said, if I have some plants in my collection that I've had for a while, or not even a while, and they just don't bring me joy anymore, I'll move them on, or I'll swap. And I think that's what's so great about houseplants, is what you might not like. And same with anything like cloves, anything. Like, I'm really into vintage at the moment. Someone introduced me to it, and you could say I was addicted to it. I don't clove shop ever, but I found vintage really good, because it's like, it's so sustainable. Like, you're buying clothes that sometimes might not have even like had the tag ripped off them, and you're not buying new clothes. I just think it's really nice. But yeah, I'd say, back to the question, probably some sort of Calathea. Yeah, although I do like the Calathea mosaic, which I actually just saw earlier on today. I had one of those at the beginning of lockdown, but I didn't do very well with it. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the plant and the root ball and basically just like loosen it up, put it on the floor, get in there with the shovel, loosen up the dirt at the bottom, pour in the perlite, mix, do it same here, pour it in, put the plant in. How you repot a plant, you know, you don't really need telling, but this is quite, the actual plant is heavy. I actually thought it was the, I thought it was just the pot, because this is like a really solid ceramic pot. But yeah, I think this will really benefit from it. The roots are so dry. You see that? Can you see that? It's like proper dry. It's so heavy. Okay, so a good sign that that needed watering is the fact that it smells so damp. It not needed watering, needed repotting because it smells damp. Okay, so there's not much left in here. So I'm going to crack open the perlite and then mix it. I mean, there's some like, it's a really hard bit of soil. I'll just put it in there. I missed. I've never repotted outside. I really like it. We're at the moment, we've just had planning permission come through. It's like granted for building like a perimeter wall. We have like a garden. We've got like a green part to the side of our house, but the front of the house is like a massive car park. It's really weird to explain. Basically, the house we bought used to be a nursery, so it used to be commercial, and it's like 150-200 years old, and it used to be like a green garden at the front, and then someone came and turned it commercial. They took up this beautiful garden, cut down a tree, put down tarmac and made it a car park. Obviously people dropping off their kids and stuff, and staff members. So it has an existing like stone wall, so it is a stone built like house, and we've had planning permission to build it like, don't know how tall, 2 meters I think. So that would be really cool, because then eventually it will be a garden and I will be able to do this kind of thing outside in it. I'm so excited. This isn't going to happen anytime soon, by the way. It's like my husband's building a wall. We had the whole of the inside of the house to do. He's doing it on his own. And yeah, he's just a busy guy. And at the moment we're on holiday, and he's the kids' tree house that my brother-in-law's built, I think it was, and I think my husband, that needs, basically there was some like, the floorboards are a bit rotten because it gets really cold here, and I think the wood's just like rotten, so he's replacing all the floorboards in it. Even on holiday he's still doing DIY. Left about this much, and I think I'm going to just leave it like that. Actually, I don't think she's going to use this for anything else, and I don't think it needs that much, so I'll put a bit more in. I'm trying to think for the other plant that I'm repotting. And also, it's like, I think it's like 7:30 here at night, so it's not too bad, considering it's evening time. It's nice and warm still. Okay, off camera, I've literally just dug a big hole out of this and filled this bucket up because I put the banana plant back in and it was sitting too high for me, so it needs to be really in there, and there's lots of perlite in there, and there's actually some orchid bark, I assume from like the original pot it came in, so I'm just going to put that back in there and then just top fill it now. So dusty. That was a big gust of the wind. Yeah, that's much better. Probably sits lower than it did, but it's, at least the roots aren't all like, you know, where's the soil. I never really understood how root rot worked with plants that were in really big pots. Like, I could never really understand why you could put a plant in a big pot, but obviously if you've got a big pot like this and the roots are like this, the water can just go around the roots and not actually get to the roots, and loads of other reasons. So yeah, I think this is better with it being further down. I think I might have some left over for another plant. Maybe not actually, it's kind of filling it up. I think I'm not going to bother putting more soil on top just to hide the stalk of it. There's no point, stalk, whatever it's called, I don't know. There's no point really, because I can reuse this for something else and not open that packet, and that can be saved, because I'm sure there's other stuff that needs repotting. Cool. And yeah, I was asked what this was, like this yellowing around the edge. I think it's either overwatering or underwatering, which I know is like so difficult, like how do you know which one you're doing, but I've tried to explain to my mother-in-law how I would personally look after this. But like I said, she's really not doing that bad at all, considering she doesn't know what she's doing, because it's still growing and it looks really good, except this leaf. But yeah, I think that's inevitable sometimes. So yeah, that's the first one. I'll get on to the one that looks a bit more challenging now. So this is the next one. I wanted to give you a bit more of a close-up again. It's not the best, so it's going to be interesting. You can see how much like rot there is there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the rot off and see what we can save. Yeah, I think I'll start there. And we are using this lovely pot as well. I think that would look really nice. That would look really cute once this is tidied up. So, right, I've made such a mess here. Such a mess. Okay, so I will put this down here. I'll fill the bottom a little bit. Yeah, that's definitely a good sized pot. And I can add more perlite, because this will need more perlite. Just because it's been in water for a year. And whatever I don't use of this, I will just shove in the banana plant pot just to give it some extra. Okay, cool. That's like predominantly perlite in that. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that, but I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's really weird, this plant. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is just take, like, this is literally what I cut the last time I was here. Hello, old friend. So I'm just gonna go strand by strand and like take them all apart. Just take some of these off as well. Maybe I'm gonna give it a full makeover, chop the aerial roots up. I've got some real cleaning up to do when I'm finished. Okay, so, do you know what? Considering this has been in water for a year, I absolutely, look at this root. That's 1 year. Isn't that the strangest thing? That's really bizarre. I don't know how that will survive in here, but I suppose we can just see. I'm going to place the ones that I've done with in there. See, there's more roots on that one, and it's not rotten, which is always a good thing. Okay, we've got a little bit of rot there, but it's actually not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. It might just look worse than it is. I keep looking up because I haven't got my glasses on, and I just need to keep making sure it's filming. That's fine. So I'll find another question and answer a few more. So another question was, how old am I? Which is not one I like to admit. I feel so much younger than I am. I still feel like I'm in my 20s, but I'm 31. I'm 32 this month, on the 28th of July, which sucks. Honestly, I don't know where time has gone, and I really feel like COVID just took years off my life, like not off my life, but of my life. Because me and my husband had plans, like we had holidays like booked to Italy and we were going to go traveling, and I just, it's a bit weird. I literally just feel like I've all of a sudden just become much older, which obviously is how it works, but I feel a little bit sad. Yeah, the roots on this are like non-existent as well. So some of these, I don't know how they're fair. So we'll just have to see, and I'll tell her the ones that don't, like this one, ones that don't fare well, she can just pull them out because they wouldn't have survived in here for much longer anyway. So another question from the same person is, are you really tall? You look tall on camera. Very, very weirdly, I get asked this all the time. Well, I don't get asked this all the time. I get people assuming that I'm really tall. I'm not small. I would say I'm not small. I would say I'm average. I'm 5'3.5", 5'4". So petite, but I'm not tall. It's cool that I look tall. I've always wanted to be tall, but I am not. Right, so what I tend to like to do if I'm itchy, if I'm repotting like a group of like water propagations or any kind of propagations that I've taken different strands on, I like to, like you would flowers, I like to group them together, then hold it in and then fill it up. I just think that's so much easier, but I need to make sure I'm taking off the dead leaves at the same time. This isn't gonna miraculously look like a beautiful plant, so I mean it is obviously, but it's not gonna look like it's been put together nicely and all of a sudden, you know what I mean, it's a little bit ugly. So that was it for the questions. Like I said, I literally uploaded that Ask Me Anything whilst I was driving back from the city. So yeah, that's all I got, which is probably a little bit on the you know, plain side. You know, there wasn't much there to work with, but I hope you enjoyed. But I really like, and I genuinely really like to get to know you guys, and there's some regulars that are pop up in my comments like every Saturday, so hello. I really like that, that's really cute. I know one guy's called John, and there's another couple that are regulars, so thank you guys. But yeah, just drop something like a fact about yourself in the comments, an interesting fact about yourself in the comments. That would be really cool. Start that little trend and see how many of you actually get to this time in the video, because I think it's getting a bit boring. It's taken me so long. But an interesting fact about me. I got asked this the other day actually, what other week at work, and I can't remember what I said. I think I just said that cladding campaigning thing because I was technically in a debate in the House of Commons. I was on, it was during COVID, and I was on the big projector in the House of Commons, which I think is really cool. I worked really closely with my local MP and other MPs, and I lobbied ministers, which sounds scary, but yeah. I'm really proud of that work that we did. I grouped together with other affected people in other cities, became really good friends with them, and saw the £1 billion fund towards fixing buildings. So yeah, that's it's taught me a lot in life, that experience. It was the most stressful 2 years of my entire life, and there are still millions of people in that same situation. Our building has only just become, well, technically it hasn't yet, it's getting signed off as safe because it's had like a £2 million project, of which we had to pay towards it, but not 100 plus thousand, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be here today, I'd be crying. But yeah, that's an interesting fact about me, and that's literally all I have. So drop yours in the comments and I'd love to chat to you. I'm nearly finished with this, and I want to top it off with some perlite as well, because you know, that's what it's here for. I have finished. It's more of a floppy plant, just because the stems are so long. I didn't really want to go cutting it and then repotting it. I think it looks much better, but yeah, that's the finished product, and I'll put some pictures in so you can see what they actually look like, so they look a bit nicer than they do here, because I might keep rearranging that, but I have to go now. I have actually been longer than I totally thought, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed getting my hands dirty. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will chat to you in the comments down below as promised, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.